Located approximately 75 kilometers southwest of Jos City, the capital of Plateau State, Butura, a community of over 100,000 people, has a unique history in sub-Saharan Africa.
For us in Butura, we pride ourselves in having a very rich culture, and there are different or various aspects of our culture.
Butura Nation is one of the subsets in the Ron Nation, and we have a rich culture. We have a lot of economic potentials, and apart from that, the Butura people are very unique.
Butura as a people or as a nation are traditionally horsemen. Historically, we are known to be cowboys, if you like. And that explains why we settled eventually on the land, which is very plain. That was seen by our forefathers as the right place to graze their horses. History has it that many of the horses being used in Nigeria today actually originated from us.
For over 2,000 years, Butura people are globally reputed for their unique culture, with their language among few from Africa taught in faraway Germany. Buturawu, the ancestral headquarters of the village, is 4 kilometers to the south of Bokas town.
Today, we're working also to see that this language is preserved. It might interest people to know that in Germany, Ron is being spoken. A university awards degree in Ron language. Maybe people don't know that, but that is to tell you how intensive studies have been done about our people.
There's the education component in which families educate informally their children. In the evenings, they sit around the family head, and there's a place in front of the compound that is a very carefully arranged set of stones, and it's called in our language Mare. And in that place they sit, and then stories are told to children, and these stories have a purpose: to educate, to inform, and to kind of empower them for life.
Historically, the Butura people are fearless warriors, adventurous horsemen, unequaled farmers, and highly innovative people. They belong to the Ron stock in the Ron Kulere chiefdom of Bokus local government area.
Butura men are hunters. They go hunting. When they come back with what they get from the bush. It will be celebrated.
In those days, Butura people are hunters and farmers.
When we were growing up, when we were still young, we could still see some little wildlife. But because of the pressure of population and all that, the pressure on hunting, that most of those animals have ceased to exist. But you know that they were in the land because there are names for them and there are stories about them when they used to. We know what a hyena is. We had even giraffes, we had lions, we had leopards, we had different kinds of antelopes, and their names are all there. We had birds, different kinds of birds, and they all have their names. Some of them are still in existence to date, but you won't see them in the numbers that they were about 4 or 5 decades ago.
The Butura people are a fusion of the stock that traces its origin to Gobir or Borno State, down to Lankang and the indigenous group called Gai Madaras.
According to what our ancestors told us, our grandparents told us, there are actually 5 clans in Butura Takon. Then Gai clan, then Fachi clan, then Mandar clan, then Nafmasha.
Butura is blessed with fertile agrarian land and adequate water supply with all year-round agricultural activities. Perhaps like the ancient Greece, Butura is a land full of potentials with diverse opportunities for business.
Wheat is grown in some parts of Butura. And then we've had crops such as, tree crops such as apples grown in Tenti, which is a part of Butura land. And then you now see that there are many big multinational corporations that have also tried to come in, like the UTC farms in Tenti before. We're growing tomatoes and apples and all of that in Butura. So the kind of weather, the livestock farm in Butura was holding temperate breeds of cattle before, and even to date, there's still the Milky Way dairy farm. Just to tell you that the potentials for Butura land in agriculture, both crop and livestock, are such very enormous potentials.
The kind of crops that are being produced here, investors could come in. We have vast land that can be used to produce farm produce that can be exported. I know that Irish is something that is used all over the world, so it's something we can capitalize on.
The Mekatako International Market is one of the largest markets in Plateau Central Senatorial Zone. This is where agricultural produce from Butura land are marketed.
Presently, as a commercial nerve center, we have the Mekatako market. The Mekatako market is an international market. You find people coming from Niger, you find people coming from most of these neighboring West African countries. They come to buy Irish potatoes, they come to buy maize, they come to buy tomatoes. We produce these food items in very large quantity.
The Butura Development Association, the umbrella body of all cultural associations in the district, plans to promote and market the tourist sites in Butura with a grand plan to build international hotels and a golf course as Nawe cultural festivals continue to grow with global participation as a tourism destination.
At the moment, we look at Butura people as people who are very industrious. They are good farmers. And apart from that, the Butura man is not a lazy man. We would want to see a situation whereby we would have a processing plant for potatoes. Because our farmers, when they produce potatoes in a large quantity, sometimes they have problems in marketing.
Economic point of view is without saying that in many European countries, what their main revenue stream is tourism. So for us, we will benefit, the state will benefit, and Nigeria at large. Well, you know that it has potentials. The tourism industry has potentials to create jobs. That invariably, automatically you see jobs being created. And given our very beautiful terrain or environment, the soil, and the kind of crops that are being produced here, investors could come in. We have vast land that can be used to produce farm produce that can be exported.
Bang is an architectural stone causeway constructed by Chen Madares in Butura, declared by UNESCO Heritage Site since 1953. The bridge is dated to have been built about 2,000 years ago.
All that has been reported about Butura has always been based on oral information, that is oral tradition. Quite rich indeed, not that oral tradition is bad. It has given us so much of understanding between the various groupings, and it is from here you begin to now understand that there were various groups that came together to form what is the present day Butura and most other communities. It's not just one group. Because the history of the area has now shown us that it is in waves. This group will come, settle, move, another group will come, settle, move. They will mingle, probably, of course, intermarry.
We have historical sites there which are mainly rocks, rock enselbages, and then some stone bridges. The stone bridges are the ones that have been recorded by the Department of Antiquities. All these bridges in our own language, Tash, T-A-S-H. And that one of the Tash areas has been visited by the UNESCO, by Department of Antiquities, and by the Jos Museum.
Tash is an archaeological site that students read in their books. If you talk of UNESCO sites, so one is something students from all over the world, archaeological students, can come over and see, and perhaps other discoveries can be made. Up until now, we only know it as a site without much of promotion, and we want these to be known. As a people, we are looking at the cultural village. The cultural village is part of what we call the Butura roadmap, and the cultural village is supposed to harness what we have in our culture, and traditionally the things we have so preserved over the years, and showcase them to the world. It's going to be of a lot of historical benefit to historians and archaeologists, and to people who like to see new things or things that date back to many years. This is something that we see that is different from what they've been seeing as they tour around the world.
Nawe Festival in Butura land is celebrated annually in memory of what used to happen in the past for the purpose of unity and preservation of the Butura culture and its transmission to the younger generation.
Nahwai is an annual festival organized by Butura people.
Nahwai simply means a dance of joy. And why that joy? There are two basic things why people dance Nahwai in Butura. One, if there is a big catch of a game, then you take up that joyous song called Nahwai.
Part of it is the circumcision of male children, that mothers will take their children and give the men their children for circumcision. And when they are coming out, you celebrate.
Nahwai as a festival is to mark victory. The word Nahwai means victorious song, if you like. And that is to mark a season when, either by way of hunting, the people got a good game, or in wars they came back with some victory and all of that. So Nahwai is to mark such seasons, and historically it was celebrated in the second month, and that's why we do it in February, to mark that. There are several that could be called Nahwai in their own right with different names, but we picked this to mark it because it was specifically put at that time, and that was a festival that was being celebrated. I mean, it dates back to our forefathers, and we decided to replicate that now and to keep improving on that. That also, what we are doing today is to bring back memories of our culture at that time. What we'll be seeing in time will be things like horse races. Those were things that were done then because they were good at riding horses, so we'll begin to see that. We want to traditionally see, we want to also see if we can bring back that tradition of the horsemen we were known for. We want to as well bring back all the things in terms of going for hunting and getting those games from the bush and all of that, and displaying them.
It's very, very important as a tradition, as a culture, that we maintain this tradition, because it is something, it's a unifying factor for a Butura man to come together once in a while to celebrate the tradition and to pass the tradition to the younger generation. And also by that, because of the benefits because of the areas that we have, the tourism attractions that we have, by the time we put all of this together, we know in future this one will be a revenue earning venture for Butura and for Plateau State as a whole.
In 2018, about 7,500 people attended the festival, while in 2019, above 10,000 people attended the festival that had activities spanning 4 days of rich cultural display, such as dancing competitions, 75-kilometer hiking in 3 days, symposiums, playlets, a medical outreach, and public lectures. The Butura women prepare special traditional cuisine to welcome guests during the Nawe Cultural Festival.
Nahuai has come to be since the days of our forefathers. So the role of a woman in Nahuai is very important, because the woman prepares the delicacy to welcome the visitors or the people that will bring her son home after the circumcision. And then if her husband goes hunting, he comes back home with whatever he has gotten, she will prepare something in anticipation of her husband coming home.